Ladies and gentlemen, we're here doing something a little different on Sportswire right now. We're going to be doing wrestling. Trust me, plenty of wrestling talk over the next hour or so. But we're going to basically be talking about something that maybe you should visit and maybe where you can see a library of wrestling footage. No, not quite all the Sportswire radio footage. Not just yet. Who knows? Maybe one day. But we're going to talk about an app which also is on YouTube. It's also will have on its own website. It's a streaming thing. It's almost kind of, well, since the WWE network is going out of business, there's still something out there that's going to present to us. Well, where can we watch some of our favorite independent wrestling shows of yesterday and some of our old wrestling documentaries and a slew of other great wrestling footage that will live somewhere? Because as I stated, we know the WWE network is about to be a relic, like maybe what some of those youth of the backyard have been talking about when it comes to, well, let's say those dinosaurs that roamed the backyard wrestling circuit. But we're going to talk about how and what is the Wrestling Society, Eric, but also talk with our guest here, who is the co-CEO, and he had a dream, he had an opportunity and a vision that he wanted to present as a wrestling fan, and he's going to tell us why we should invest in this and why we should support it, because after all, we are all Wrestling Matters, and we always want to support those that will give us an all Wrestling Matters type of platform, because yes, here on Sportswire Radio, we give you everything when it comes to the backyard, the underground, no ring, no rope, death match, hardcore, pro, indie, you name it, whatever else is out there. It's all wrestling to me. But our guest is going to talk about, well, kind of in a way how maybe he's the Vince McMahon without the baggage, thankfully. Thankfully, they're not going to do a Netflix documentary on him. Hopefully, well, I mean, if we do one, I'll shoot on you, but we don't want to do that on sports. But we want to actually talk about this here and talk about some of the really cool programs, some of the reasons why you should tune in, plus talk about your journey and what led you to being a wrestling fan, plus who knows whatever else. We are here, and it's called Celebration Week on Sportswire Radio. We've been celebrating some of our very favorites in the backyard, in the underground wrestling circuit, and today is kind of like the bridge between some of the most recent big shows we've had recently. And it's a very important bridge because our guest has certainly been doing so much for our support and delivering news and all different types of things out there for people to get a chance to watch and maybe expose themselves some footage that maybe they haven't seen or maybe they forgot about. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to give our guest that introduction here on a platform that is, well, pretty much a platform similar to what he's built. So from one visionary, one businessman to another, let's give our guest that introduction he's been waiting for, because he has no idea what he's about to get into as we're on that road to 1,000 subscribers here on Sportswire Radio, the only platform, as I stated, where all wrestling matters. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right to it. So, with further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one cable sports show, the co-CEO of the Wrestling Society Network. His name is simply put, Professor My friend, how are we doing?
We are doing lovely. I have had some intros, but by far that had to be the top intro and I definitely appreciate that.
I hope that you're not just saying, because I know you do a lot of these shows. I know you go to some other wanker with a wrestling podcast, but this is a different one, with all due respect, because as I was telling you off the air, this is a platform that's really the home of backyard and underground wrestling. I know you go on these shows, and these are the guys that might do like the WWE 2K stuff or the general pro wrestling, AEW, WWE list. I don't really focus on that. My platform is really kind of the home of backyard, underground, some independent wrestling, definitely some hardcore deathmatch guys. But for sure, this is a platform that I have no doubt is very different than some of the other ones you've been on. So I definitely hope that you mean that.
Oh, I definitely do. And the thing is, I think we have a lot more in common than you really realize.
Well, I know we're
Because
both businessmen. Well, that I know off the bat because I actually have my own internet radio station. I know you've got the Wrestling Society Network. Once upon a time, I was on a little thing called Northeast Streaming Sports Network, which was basically on Roku, which we're going to talk about what you guys have. We were on Roku, and we had a bunch of different shows. It was a 24-hour outlet. So I know a little bit of that. But yes, we're both businessmen. I have 9, 10, or 11 now official podcast on my own internet radio, but you do the visual stuff. So yes, we're both businessmen. I won't compare my bank account to yours. Something tells me I actually might have the edge, but we're not here about that. I am very impressed. In the background of your screen, you have a Super Nintendo. Look, you have a Nintendo GameCube in the background. You have a turntable. I'm definitely not going to go drop some bars on you. I'm definitely not going to drop some rhymes on you, but I will talk about, for those that are listening and watching here in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, where truly all wrestling matters here. Professor Bear, talk to me and for the rest of the audience here. What exactly is the Wrestling Society Network?
the Wrestling Society Network is a dream of the other co-CEO, Brady Owens, of getting together with all types of different wrestling fans and having one location to support wrestling. We talk about wrestling. We encourage people to promote wrestling. If you are an independent promoter, promote your wrestling. We just have fun being wrestling fans and doing so much for the wrestling fan and also for the wrestlers, for the referees, for the people who do a lot of work behind the scenes and don't get any recognition for it. So that started, with that being said, we started on Facebook.
Yep, I see that. Yep.
And right now we're over 3K.
Yeah, I saw
members.
almost 4,000. Yep, I saw 4,000 of these almost on the group. Pretty impressive work that you're able to network in, that type of way. And it's something that gives people an outlet. It gives people an opportunity to maybe showcase their talents. Thank you for mentioning also that there are people backstage, the people that work as referees. They don't get maybe the recognition that they deserve. I think that's an excellent point about what you guys bring to the table. And I'll show for the audience what you guys have in a few minutes. But I think that's an excellent point you made.
And that's the thing. If you were a true wrestling fan, you appreciate that, because even if you can have two of the greatest wrestlers ever, but if you don't have that referee, it doesn't mean anything. If you don't have the announcers that give you more of, help you with the visuals, give you the storylines, give you a way of following it, it's not as impactful. You have managers, valet, so everybody plays a major part in it. And we, again, want to just give love and showcase that. Everybody can talk about the big ones, the AEWs, the WWE.
I don't focus on that in this platform. This is a platform, I do it once a week, and I do it, and I'm dragging myself to do it. So continue speaking to the choir. Go ahead.
So there's nothing wrong with it, but you need to understand, people came up. The big guys just didn't pick these people out of thin air. They had to start to learn their craft somewhere, and that's the independent. they grind. They look. I know a lot of pro wrestlers who don't make more than $20 a match.
It's the
But
hot dog and a handshake line. It's the
man,
whole adage of people think, oh, I'm a pro. It's not like when you're a pro, let's say, in the four major sports where you get a big paycheck and you get a licensing deal. No, being a pro wrestler, it's basically thank you very much, pat in the back, and okay, you're an independent contractor pretty much.
exactly. And you paying for your drive. Then a lot of guys can't afford to do that. So they also have to work a full-time job. So again, we're trying to give
That's all
back.
my guys that come on this platform each and every time they come here. These are people that are driving 5, 6, 7 hours. These are people that are going out there and they're busting their butts just to go live a dream. So I think that's important that you guys focus on those things. And what's it been like then in terms of the response from different wrestlers and such? I mean, knowing that you guys have this outlet, and what's that been like more or less?
I've heard nothing but love and congratulations and thank you for thinking about us. And it's my way to give back because ever since I was a young kid, I grew my household. My father loved wrestling, so I grew up on wrestling, and it's a way to give back and show them I appreciate it. Thank you. Keep up the good work. I can't do it. I appreciate you doing it. And I want this sport to go on and on after I'm dead and gone. I want it to go on with my kids. I want the sport to live on. So then that is just one of the things that we do. And one of the things that draws me into the sport. Like
Okay,
I
well,
said,
let me ask you a question on that. We're here with Professor Barry. He's the co-CEO of the Wrestling Society Network. Now, you talk about independent wrestling. That's great. I do some focus on independent wrestling. I had in your chair, as a matter of fact, in this time last week, I had on 2 independent wrestlers, and ironically enough, I had on a referee. I had a referee of all things that came in to the stream. But I'm wondering here because I do a lot of backyard and underground wrestling. Now I see you've got this app. I'm going to put it up here on the screen in a few minutes. Would this app be welcome to, let's say, for guys in backyard and underground wrestling promotions to be able to put their footage on your network? Because I think to me, this platform, we're built on a lot of that. So I would be curious on if that's something that you see yourself potentially opening up a venue for.
definitely, because this is about wrestling.
Okay.
This is so many different versions of wrestling. Who am I to say, well, no, this ain't this, or you do backyard wrestling? That's not real wrestling. Wrestling is wrestling, and on top of that, you have so many different people who like different wrestling. That's why on our app we have so many different types of wrestling. We want everyone to enjoy it, everybody to have that feel when you know you're excited and you know you can see something that you love. So again, we will try to do so many different platforms. I mean, one I can tell you, I'm trying to get a Christian wrestling.
That's
On,
fascinating, Christian wrestling. I mean, I know in the past there's been Christian wrestling out there, but that's something I haven't heard in a while. That's a fascinating because you would think Christians, that's a big outlet out there. We know Sting was a big Christian, Shawn Michaels. I mean, there's a whole list of Christian-based wrestlers, the Young Bucks. I mean, that's a fascinating one. And I'm a reverend actually, but not a Christian, but a reverend. I'm a Catholic, but that's a different show for a different time. But go ahead.
so so it's just a matter of giving different flavors and having people that have a choice. We actually have some bloody wrestling programs. We hardcore, and then of course we go to the the fan friendly
Family friendly,
wrestling.
sure. Yep.
And then we have cartoons for the kids. We have documentaries. We have we have a 2K promotion. We
I
have
saw that. That I saw.
then we got action figure promotions. Then we have collectibles. We have video games. So we have if it has anything to do with wrestling, we will look at it and give it a chance. Again, I know I'm repeating myself, but it's
No,
so
no, no, because
important.
I think there's going to be a lot of backyard and underground wrestlers that are going to be coming on here and in and out of tonight's stream. And I want to put up the website first because I want to do the due diligence for letting people to know what this exactly is for you. Because a lot of promoters are going to come on here because the word travels when I decide the word travels here. So this is a little different from what we usually do here. But obviously, this is your website. It's called thewrestlingsociety.com. Now, we can see a couple of different things. You've got some music there. Now, what is the music exactly for the audience here first? Before I put up some of the others, like the app, and I'm going to go into that, but talk about the music there for a second.
Well, that is music based on wrestling, and
Okay.
it's all original music,
Hmm.
different types of music, and it's just based on wrestling. So I know most of the guys that are part of us, we have theme music. So and then we have country, we have pop, we have heavy metal, we have a lot of different things. So again, the wrestling inspired the music. So
Right, and wrestling is certainly things that do that. Okay, so I have that now. I've got the app here, and the app is I know something you just spoke about, and I see here this will pull into it. We have all the list of the different programs that are on here, which I think is very fascinating. You've got movies, you've got TV shows, you've got wrestling. So this is an outlet. I see some of this, the 2K stuff. You have your Wrestling Society and pay-per-views. You've got some of your old wrestling documentaries. You have some of these movies. So this is basically what you have. And I see you have here some other programs, other independent wrestling promotions, reality TV based. And I would definitely venture to say that these are, a huge catalog for people to find out. Is there a fee to join this website?
yes, the fee is free. Be a fan.
That's
That's
why
it.
I knew that answer, but I wanted to make sure that the people here knew that.
That's one of the I think that's a great way of really showing how much we believe in the product and getting it out there. Of course, who goes into business that don't want to make money?
For
But
sure.
one of the first
Advertising,
thing,
different things. Yep.
but one of the first things you need to do is build an audience and
Right.
give them what they want. So we will be getting to a point where we charge, but for now we're not. It's free. Enjoy it. Get to know it. Tell your friends. Tell your friend's friend. Tell that guy that you fell out with 10 years ago. Hey, I don't like you, but hey, there's some wrestling on. Go check it out.
Well, that's a fascinating point that you made. And, you talk about building an audience. And the reason I'm going to bring up backyard in really more backyard than underground wrestling. I know there's a debate and such on who's more and what, but really backyard wrestling to me is what really carries Sportswire Radio and why I have really any reasons. If people don't want to tune into me, they want to tune into their favorite wrestlers. They really don't care about me, which is totally fine. But the facts are is that backyard wrestling, I see you have a nice little roster of shows, but you have a handful of shows. And I think, now again, this is my opinion. I know you do these shows all the time, but to me, I would think, I'm thinking about some of my favorite wrestling companies that come on this platform. Tennessee Backyard Wrestling, All Legendary Wrestling, WCE, IMF, ROEW, DKW, all these different promotions that come on here, and Legendary Backyard Wrestling, YBW, and I mean, a list of companies, NEW, TF Crew, just the list keeps going and going. They would really, I think, help with an audience kind of for what you guys to grow, because I think it's great. I see some really good things that are here in the platform, but I think backyard wrestling on something like this would definitely, I think, also really grow for you guys, but also give our backyard wrestling promotions a home that, in addition to their YouTube channel, you might want to go out and see some of their, favorite shows across the place, and it would make them want to stay involved in such. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I think that's a great idea. And the one of the reasons I can tell you, one of the main reasons why I don't know a lot about backyard wrestling. I
Well, you're in the
don't
right
have
place. You're in luck.
and I don't have the contacts. Well, hey, now once I give you my number, and if people are interested, they can shoot me a message. And we are about business. We enjoy
Yep.
it. If you have wrestling in it, we're gonna listen. We are gonna do different things. So,
And I think that there's a lot of people that would definitely benefit from that. And I see you have some podcasts here also.
oh,
Uh,
this is one of my favorite things on this website.
okay. Talk to me about it.
The reason being, it promotes different podcasters.
I see
Everybody
that.
is definitely not the same.
No, I
So,
could see you have a lot of podcasts. I could see, boy.
well,
I mean,
and
I
then
have an
see,
internet
you
radio
can even,
station. I have
and you
about
can
11 of
scroll,
them. But, go ahead.
and you can actually scroll to your right, and you'll see more.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm able to because I'm on a big screen, so I can
Okay,
only, yeah, it's a share.
but
Unfortunately, that's to share the screen. So this is the
but
best I
that's fine. And the thing is, though, the best part about it, you click on one, it's going to take you to their website,
I see. Okay.
and it'll
Very
give
handy.
you information and let you learn about them. We are getting nothing from this, just to be able to help promote.
So
Again,
why then? So Professor Bear, I know you're a businessman like me. I know you have your heart is similar to mine. That's I can certainly see that you're a wrestling fan. I'm a wrestling fan. I didn't cut my teeth out in the wrestling world first. I was always a wrestling fan though. Growing up in Brooklyn, I made some money in other things, and I did some other things. But this kind of was into my lap during COVID. And here we are. You're here, almost 1,000 subscribers. Blah 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 blah. But then, like, why and what got you specifically to say, you know what, I'm gonna go do this for the people? Why invest all the time that you have to go and invest in something? What is the end game for you?
the end game is being able to give back to a sport that I've loved ever since I was a kid. I
Okay.
never got to be a wrestler because
Okay.
I couldn't do that. Uh, you have to put so much dedication into being
Sure,
a
I
wrestler.
know. People don't realize what these
It's,
guys and gals go through. It's
man,
unbelievable.
exactly. So I couldn't do that, but didn't take away from my respect for wrestling, my love of it. I love the different concepts. I love the storylines. I love the athletics. It's so much. So I'm gonna give you a quick background story.
Talk to me.
The other CEO, Brady Owens, he's
Yep.
the originator. He started out in 2018 trying to do just a web podcast. Well, he
Okay.
quickly found out he couldn't do it by himself. It's a lot of work.
Yep.
So
Trust me, I understand.
yes, so he stopped and took a couple of years off, and he decided, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it right. I need a team. So 2022, he put out an ad on Facebook asking people if they want to do a podcast. So I seen that, and I thought to myself, nah, I would like to, but what do I bring to the table? And I was like, so I got off the computer, went, sat down, talking to my wife, and
Okay.
told her about it. She was like, "Yeah, why are you sitting here? Go in there and get the application. Give them the do what you got to do." I'm like, "Hey, nobody ain't gonna want to hear me talk about wrestling." She's like, "Please, you're a debate against anybody. If God came down, you would have a debate with him. Of course, you would be quickly telling him before you even said anything, Lord, I mean no disrespect when I say this, but and debate with him." So I thought about it for a few minutes. I was like, yeah, she's about right. So I went back, filled out the app. An hour later, he hit me up. We talked, and we've been rocking ever since together. Our vision is very similar, and we just been going on. It's the passion. And I can definitely tell you the main thing for Brady is being a wrestling fan. He wanted to get wrestling in one place. Not you can't have all wrestling, but a good amount of different styles of wrestling. You can go to one place to see it, so you wouldn't have to go.
Which I think there's something that's lacking, and we're here with Professor Bear. He is the co-CEO of the Wrestling Society Network. We are on the Wrestling Society Network website. You can check that out at thewrestlingsociety.com. They're on YouTube, Instagram, and more. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. You have voice figuratively and literally where all wrestling matters. And if you are here on YouTube for the first time, please hit the sub button for me. I am literally less than 80 subscribers away from 1,000. I feel like I'm on this road to 1,000 subscribers longer than my root canal back in 2019 and Cody Rhodes' own journey to finally win the big one. So come on, let's go and get it over with already. Get me to 1,000 subscribers so you can roast me on this platform. Professor Bear will do the roasting better than anybody else. But okay, so I think that there is a message here in that wrestling right now, outside of WWE and AEW, and you want to throw Impact in there, okay, I'll throw it in there. But I think that other outlets, and this is a home for it, that are lacking that place to be able to say, you know what, I want that outside exposure. Because, I think one of the problems that independent wrestling suffers from, and along with underground and backyard, especially I think in the backyard, is that there's a stigma toward backyard wrestling. And I think that it's an unfair stigma because people don't say when they go play basketball and play pickup basketball, or when somebody's going out there and playing football on the ground or playing soccer in some field somewhere, they don't say, oh, well, you're only playing and it's not professional. So I think that there is something that's lacking to give wrestling, and especially I think what this platform covers outside exposure. So I think appreciate this message. But in addition to this website, is there somewhere else that people can connect and watch, let's say, the live stream or some of the other things that you offer, sir?
Well, you can always go on our YouTube page.
I'm going to pull that up in a few minutes.
And then you can always go on Facebook. We're always posting something on Facebook. I think one of the things about is just taking time and the right connections, because to do the massive amount of work and exposure we have to make sure we have the right people and the right minded people to do it with, because believe you me, it is not easy. And I can truly say I do this all the time. Brady, I probably 2, 3 in the morning where normal people sleep, you can catch me and Brady up doing something.
I know the feeling. Trust me. I know the feeling. I have put my platform together on the internet radio and some of these other outlets together basically by myself. So I understand completely. Let me ask you, though, this question. Is there anything like a Roku app or anything else that you guys might be on or something you might be looking at? Because I think I mentioned it. I was on something a few years back called the Northeast Streaming Sports Network, and it was fine. People paid a fee into it, but I didn't feel it got the exposure that for my brand at that time, because I didn't think it was the right fit. I didn't think that it was too much of the same. I think the people that he had in terms of his host, the gentleman that ran the page, I just didn't think that it was really for what was put into it. I didn't think it was going to work. Wrestling's different. Wrestling, people are devoted. I think when you do sports sometimes in these sports streaming apps, people might click on something and they go off it. Wrestling's different. If people know you cover something, you're for it, they're coming to you. They're coming to you over and over again. So are you guys on or looking to be on like a Roku app or something like that, which is a kind of a common theme for people?
Well, yes, we are definitely. Right now, we are on Roku. We're on Apple TV. We're on Fire Stick and Amazon.
Okay. Okay.
And when you look at the app on our website, you don't even get to see a lot. It's a lot more on the app.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
And I think that you get to see a lot of good quality stuff, things. Like I said, we try to give different varieties of wrestling. So,
And we see a magazine here. I think that's very fascinating. You have a digital magazine. You
well,
have stuff there.
that's actually coming. It's not just the digital; it's going to be digital and paper.
Okay.
Paper. So that's something we're working on.
I think that's very fascinating. I see we have a group chat here. I know merchandise is on the way. You have some, indie stuff. I think that's kind of fascinating. You see some, different people here and such. I think that's very fascinating. I also think that you guys have a little bit of a background on who you guys all are. I think that's, interesting. We see, you and we see what you bring to the table. You have an executive vice president. So you have a team underneath you, which I think is important. You have a list of these different people that obviously work with you, and you have to have a team. Unlike me, where I do this all behind tied my hands, but that's okay. I think that the people just for whatever reason want that. I don't know why, but you also I see the indie wrestling page, which I think is good. Let me open it up to the chat because the people want to talk to you, and they're the reason why I'm actually any reason relevant. So let me get to some people. Let me ask them their opinions. My friend Zilla, who is the resident chatter of Sportswire Radio, she's going to go in the Hall of Fame soon, says, hello, Professor Barrett. Hello to Tom Bryce. All wrestling matters. My buddy, the Alpha from Legendary Backyard Wrestling, also a part of the Backyard Wrestling Nexus. I'm going to plug the Backyard Wrestling Nexus t-shirt in a few minutes, which my logo is on, so we'll do that. Want to say hello to Sinister, a.k.a. Craven Rage. Hello to Famous Truth. How you doing? Nice to see you. I appreciate that you think the Wrestling Society Network is the hottest show because I'm nothing. My buddy Il Drago, the Samoan Dragon, gotta have humor. My buddy Il Drago, the Samoan Dragon, he's here tomorrow because my buddies, the IMF, are going into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. The man that is now the future and the president of Backyard Wrestling, but he might not be the president, not the president, but he is Judas the Evil Angel. He's the all legendary wrestling world champion. He says, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening. Yes, we say good evening. Also, yes, hello there to Judas. Let's see who else we have in the chat. So we have I have two companies that want to be on in particular. So WCE, which is in Appleton, Wisconsin, they have footage. They've been really with my program. They've been on my platform the longest of any backyard wrestling company. So how does a backyard wrestling company, whether it's WC or the next company I'm about to put on the screen here, how do they get involved and get on, let's say, the Wrestling Society Network?
They would need to reach out to me or Brady Owens.
I'll connect them. That's fine. I'll handle that.
And if you Facebook, if you have a Facebook page, that's the best way to reach.
I'll handle that. I'll connect that individual here. Same goes for Mr. Atomic Titan. He is the ringleader. He is one of the ringleaders, wink and a nod, of Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. Now, that's a company you want to have on your platform. Why? Because they have almost 8,000 subscribers. Now, I'm sure that you would obviously benefit from having a company with almost 8,000 subscribers on your YouTube
channel. And I'm curious of what part of Tennessee?
Lafayette.
Lafayette?
Lafayette. Where are you at?
I'm in Knoxville.
Okay. Well, he's a Tennessee Volunteers fan, by the way. He's a huge Vols fan.
I'm sorry for him.
Well, he wasn't on Facebook, so sorry. The other day, he was happy about their ranking.
Yeah, I say so, but he got to play Alabama. Alabama coming soon, so we all know how
that's
goes.
True too. But I will say, I'm in New York. I'm in New York City. We don't really have a college football team. We don't really. I look at it like people ask me, "Who's your team?" Like we don't really have one. People say, "Well, it's Notre Dame because," but it's really in New York City. I'm from Brooklyn. When I was growing up in Brooklyn, we didn't really have a team. So that's a different show for a different time. Judas is very happy. He's in Marion, Ohio from ALW. And yes, we know that. You do have some good ideas. And if you're also wanting to have some good ideas, hit the sub button for me. I'm really trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Want to say hello to Mr. Jack Spade from Resurrection Wrestling, who made his long-awaited return to the ring this past weekend. And I'm sure they would like to be a part of things as well. Rezzy's had some hardcore and deathmatch wrestlers. You talked to me about that off the air, and it's a good show. Yes, because I'm not talking too much. Knoxville, Tennessee, not Illinois. But to make sure, Tennessee. I know where you're from, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee. Yeah, not Illinois. Is there a Knoxville, Illinois? By the way, did anybody have
Yeah,
that? There
and
is.
it's great, and it's crazy because I've just the way my brain thinks looked up all the different Knoxville, Alabama, Georgia, Illinois, Iowa.
So we have the YouTube page, which is, I'm assuming this is an outlet for what you guys have for some of the different shows that are on the platform. So how does that go about? How do these shows and how did this come across? How you select all these different presenters that have been on your outlet here, more or less?
Well, see, this is our original. So most of everything on here is WSN original items.
Okay.
So, and this is what we started on. We started off as a podcast, and then we broke and started making content. And then we decided we wanted to come up with an app. And we knew with just the little bit of content that we had, it was going to be quickly burnt out. So that's where we started reaching out to other creators, started looking, talking to them about being on the app. So right now, our app, we probably got 35% of what we have in store that we have. So we have a lot more that is going to be added, but we don't want to rush it. We want to take our time. We want to give people chances. And then, of course, when we get new, like what I'm not going to say if, I'm going to say when we pick up other promotions, we can add their promotions to it.
Well, I am still going to say it, and I'm going to put this is the Facebook group. This is the Facebook here group of the Wrestling Society Network, and you can see some guy with these really annoying looking mutton chops here, and you can see. Try to have humor. We have a list of your different people that are in the group. I see you have a bunch of them here. You have a 3,100, as a matter of fact, that are in the group. So this is the Facebook page where people, if they join the group, they're able to present their stream or their link to something. Correct?
Correct. Their podcast, promote. We love you to promote your own stuff.
Now, would a backyard wrestling promotion or a company, would they be able to send a link here also to their show link or anything else? Would that be acceptable to put on the page as well? Okay.
Yes, it is. If you're about wrestling, it's permitted.
Okay. Well, no, we're only about sports. Well, I mean, I do sports, but really, I think the people that 80% of my listeners at this point are wrestlers or from wrestling companies. So they would obviously like to come on here and maybe as a way to express the outlet of what they do. And I think that that's very helpful to people because, we're all about connecting with each other. I know a lot of people say all the time on Sportswire, oh, well, everybody hates each other. There's this divide, but trust me, it's not what it is. It's not. There's a big, in backyard wrestling, people say, oh, well, it's all toxic. People don't like each other. Trust me, it's not. There's a few small number of people, but the truth is everybody's on the same team. And to have something like this, the reason I bring that up is that it allows people to go out and put their content, especially with 3,100 members, that's a needed outlet. So I wanted to ask that before I get to some more comments, that people could put their information on there as long as that is acceptable.
Oh, yeah. Again, if you're about wrestling, whether you're backyard, death match, whatever, if you're about wrestling, you feel free to get on there and promote. The only thing we say is no negativity. Keep the politics to yourself.
Yes, amen to that. Yes, 100%, 100%.
And religion, please keep that to yourself. Besides that, if you're not hating on the net, because it's simple as this: if you don't like something,
You know what
Go
my
back.
dad used to always say, and I didn't listen to him a lot because obviously I'm on this platform. He would just say, "Don't say anything," but I didn't listen to him obviously because I'm here at the microphone. My mother sometimes listens to the show. She'd probably agree with that, but the facts are is that I never took that advice. But yes, that's a well speaking point. Let me ask you this question: In what are some of I know you have a lot of this stuff. I saw the documentaries. What are some of the popular stuff that's on the page from if you're able to like let the audience know to get a sense of some of the more popular things that you guys bring? Like if you had a few that you thought were the most popular on the page.
Oh wow.
I told you you get different questions
Yeah.
compared.
I think well, one of the things that I just put up, and I can definitely has been gaining a lot of traction. Uh, Brady doesn't do a lot of interviews,
Okay.
and I put that up, and the numbers have been super impressive. Of liking to hear Brady's background and his thoughts instead of hearing mine, because pretty much I'm the one that's been going out doing the interviews. So,
Okay, that's interesting. That's definitely interesting. And I think in terms of just what are some of the things that you personally want to see on the page that you haven't got a chance? I mean, I'll come back to backyard. I'll come back to some more comments in a second. But is there a wrestling or let's say a thing or a type of wrestling that you want to see on here that maybe you haven't got a chance that the platform really is added?
I said it early, Christian wrestling. Um, we and not thinking the backyard wrestling. I never really thought about it, but that would be great.
Well,
Um,
backyard, I'm going to say it again. I think backyard to me, I think backyard wrestling, if you don't mind me saying this, I know my backyard wrestlers are going to either shoot me and say thank you. I think backyard wrestling to me is far more exciting. I think it's far more popular than independent wrestling. And the reason that is because backyard wrestlers, because I have them on every night on this platform. So let me tell you something. Backyard wrestlers know how to promote themselves. They know how to be able to work their audience. They know in terms of how to sell themselves. I think independent wrestling, and I see you do some of it, and I love independent wrestling. Don't get me wrong. I believe in it. I started out covering British independent wrestling, which is my next topic for you, if you have anything on that. But, I have time and time again, the backyard guys come on here, and the backyard ones, they know how to promote. They know how to sell. So I think if you're really looking for something that's going to go and increase the visibility, because again, the independents are great. But the independents, they don't, not to say that they don't have the blood, sweat, and tears that the backyard guys do, but a lot of them, to be honest, they're weekend warriors. They're guys doing it for recreation. They're doing it, yes, it's the hot dog and a handshake, but the backyarders that come on here, they've got the spirit. They've got the energy. They're about the collaboration. The indie guys sometimes, to be honest, again, my opinion, no negative, but my opinion, sometimes they get worked up on what genre. They get worked up on what the promoter thinks. The backyard ones that come on, and they're all about collaborations. They're all about networking. So I really think that the Wrestling Society Network will, in terms of their engagements, jump leaps and bounds if they get some of these backyard companies that I'm seeing right now in the chat: TBW, Resurrection, DKW, ALW, WC, because for us in the backyard, and I think this is one of the reasons that it still to me was very important to have you here, is that yes, the backyard wrestlers come onto Sportswire. They come on here, it's great, but they do want, I think, an outlet, and they would gravitate to an outside outlet that could show, you know what, maybe we could put the stream of the latest TBW show, or the stream of the latest IMF show, or the ALW show, or whatever company that's TF Crew and DKW, Jess Judas, DKW is a thing, ROEW, so on and so on. Because I think it would gravitate to them to say, hey, there's an outlet, there's a place that not just on their own channel, and even here on Sportswire. Yes, they come onto Sportswire, but it would give them the extra exposure. And just so you know, I'll venture to say there might be more backyard wrestlers or backyard wrestling feds that are, to me, I know of, than independent ones. So I think that this would really be the perfect segue for you guys to increase that visibility and exposure with working with all the backyarders, to be completely honest.
Well, and see, again, that goes back to what I said of we are similar, because that's the way I feel about independent wrestling. They
Yes.
don't get that exposure. They don't get to build themselves. So why not give them a platform to do that?
But I think the backyard guys will go out and take the extra mile, the bull by the horns. I love the indie guys, but I can tell you from experience, not every one of them has that ability to kind of like close the deal. Not every single one of them has that ability to give me that. They come on here, they'll gravitate to working with you. They are the ones that have the charisma. They're the ones that know how to capitalize on this type of platform. So this to me is what I really would recommend. And I know I'm going to connect them for you. I'm going to actually do the work in this case. Yes, I always like to do the work, but from one businessman to another, I'm going to make sure that they connect with you, because I think if I saw the footage from BTW, if I saw the footage from DKW, the footage from ROEW, WC, and TBW, I just think that it would just be really, it's another match. And it's also, we have a big community here in the backyard. And, we have like Discord groups now. We have big Facebook direct groups. And I think that this would be an added thing that people could say, you know what? I got to go to Wrestling Society, and they're going to stay on the page. They're going to stay here. They're going to live with it. And I think that this is really why you coming here is important tonight, because I think there's a lot of people that would really capitalize on some positive exposure. I agree with you. You talked about no negativity, and I couldn't agree with you more, because we are about wrestling first. All wrestling matters, and putting community as power. That's my new term, community is power. And I think that the backyard wrestlers that come on to here, they have the power. So I think by working with them, this would be a match, really a match made in wrestling heaven, quote unquote, wrestling heaven, Bible terms. And I think by us working together, me being the middleman, this will really help the wrestling society, but also give the backyard wrestling community an outside outlet to say, now we've got some additional exposure.
Exactly. Just like if you want to have a great tag team, you got to have one thing on one side, and the other partner has to bring something different, but still mash together. And then on top of that, if you have a great mouthpiece, a great manager, which it sounds like
they all got it. Trust me. Let me tell you something. I've interviewed pro guys. I had one pro guy on here a month ago. I won't say his name. Basically, he was either high or on drugs, maybe both. The backyard guy. No, I'm serious. I don't want to say his name. He wrestled some big names, but it was what it was. I mean, listen, more power to him. But the backyard guys, they can all talk. They can all promote themselves. Because in a lot of ways, I relate to them more than the indie guys in a sense, because I love the indie guys. I'm having a couple more indie guys come on in a couple of weeks. I love everything. And I started covering British independent wrestling, the irony of that, which is going to be my next question to eventually. But the guys in the backyard, they're scrappy. They've got a fight. And it reminds me of the streets of Brooklyn. I grew up in those streets of Brooklyn. And it reminds me of that. They've got that mentality. And I think that that's why they're going to come out and they're going to do the work. They're going to go and promote this. I mean, guys are DMing me now. I have put people in the chat. This is what it's about. This is a win for the community, because the backyard community, all too often, there's a stigma. Indie guys kind of tag them, and it's not fair. It's really not fair. I don't want to go in the soapbox about that tonight, but indie guys, even underground guys. Underground's okay, but they try to run away from that. But I'm an unabashed, proud backyard wrestling supporter. And I think the backyard guys going on the Wrestle Society Network, going here, that's going to give them that confidence. Say, you know what? There's somebody else that believes in them, and they're scrappy. So they're going to promote this. Trust me. When I connect you to them, they're going to go out and work with you. And this is going to be a win for you, and it's going to be a win for them.
And I love it. And on top of it, it's going to sound, again, I'm just going over the same thing, but it's wrestling.
Absolutely. 100%. No, 100%. Absolutely.
And to bring a community that's sitting there feeling left out, feeling less than, Bring them up to come on. I'm going to show you that this is what we think of you. We love you just as much as we love these guys. We are a community, like you
That's
said,
it.
a
And that's what
community,
I
and
think that's
we
why it was
will
important
work
to have you
together.
here. And if you are here again, we're on the WrestlingSociety.com website. I have a lot of people now getting interested. So let me get to the people in the chat. Let me talk to them because they want to talk to you. They're sick of hearing me. I talk all week. I was just wondering because my grandma was one of the first Black Samoan professors in Knoxville, Illinois, Knoxville College. That's really impressive. I should have took a class under Il Drago's professor,
And
Emma.
and that's funny too because we have a Knoxville College Black one here.
I
So
should have went to that college. I would have finished college instead, probably. I would have did better in law. I would have did better in my law classes. But then again, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be talking about backyard wrestling. So who the heck knows, really? That's really what I, really said here. And I want to thank my buddy Comatose, who just said he shared it on his Instagram page because this is important. This is, to me, important for the community. And I want to get some of them in the conversation. Wrestling is wrestling no matter what title or label, whether backyard, underground, independent, or professional. And that's why Joshua Allen's our owner of Tennessee Backyard Wrestling. Speaking of people who doesn't live too far from you, D'Angelo LaFlame, who actually is supposed to be back on Sportswire, but I have to figure out the date. He says hello to everybody. Speaking of people that I know, I can't say what they're going through, but I do say hello to Mr. Darkron. He is the man behind DKW and the founder, one of the co-founders of Summer Bash and the Backyard Havoc. Let me get to some more comments here. The one and only Xavier Thorne is in the house. Real Wrestling League is in the house. Just know a big storm is coming through. Are you impacted by the hurricane? Are you one of those people where you are, Mr. Professor Bear? Is the hurricane an issue where you guys, and if you're out there and you are dealing with the hurricane, my absolute thoughts and prayers to you right now, by the way.
No, we're just getting the rain from it. That's
Okay.
it.
Well, I have to say, I am, for one, impartially happy about the hurricane because I'm a New York Mets fan in baseball, and the New York Mets are playing the Atlanta Braves, and they're playing for something to go into the playoffs. And the Mets historically absolutely never play well in Atlanta. So the fact that these next two games actually got postponed for now gives me a sigh of relief because something tells me the Mets can make the playoffs without going to play the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta. But that's a different conversation for a different time. Yes, we do miss Jack Spade, but he's back in the ring. Comatose, all wrestling matters. Yes, this is what it's about, a movement. Yes, I will make sure that that I will make this happen for the community. I won't say about the thumb. Let's just say we're praying for, let's say, Dark. Okay, Steven Storm is in the house. He's here from also the BCF3, BCF Backyard Wrestling, BTW Wrestling. Okay, so let me ask you, though, a question as we're looking at the website here. Do you have any specific goals with this website, on this platform? You have any goals?
Just to expand, to be, again, being the wrestling hub. I know one of the goals for myself in a year's time, I want, when people are Googling wrestling, our page is damn near one of the first to come up. I want that information. Again, I want you to enjoy yourselves. I want you to see. Give me ideas. Matter of fact, we got a indie wrestler of the week. We do.
I saw some of that. You had some of the indie wrestler of the week. That's funny you said that because one of the things in backyard wrestling, you're gonna chuckle at this, but they have a thing called a BYW Hub Rankings, and people kind of fight over it in some ways, and it's kind of a thing. I don't rank people because I don't have time and I don't have the wrestling eye, but people fight over that. That's kind of fascinating that you do that. Let me ask you, though, this question. You have this website, you have this platform. Have you guys ever thought about streaming a wrestling show or getting into that? Has that been asked of you and such? That's something that you would consider with all these companies out here and such?
Yeah, we're in the middle of talking to company about it. So yeah, we're definitely going to be streaming in time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's definitely one of our
one of the
plans.
reasons I bring that up is because, you have a lot of these backyard wrestling companies that are here now, and you're meeting them for the first time. and they put on some really big shows. I don't know what the viewership is on the promotions that you have. I don't know what the viewership is on the page itself. That's obviously a question I'll leave that for a different topic in a different time. But some of these companies put on super shows. I've been responsible in some ways. I don't agree with it, but responsible for a few of them. There are companies that put on shows that generate thousands upon thousands of views. If you connected with those companies to have them stream from their YouTube page onto the Wrestling Society Network page, that would actually, I think, really open up a door that really hasn't been open, I think, for backyard wrestling, but also for you guys, because they know how to put this stuff together. They know how to be able to market and be able to do something that would be a benefit to both people. So I'm just, thinking about it. And that was one of the things I had thought about as you coming on the show, is that could solve your problem maybe in some sense, sir.
Oh yeah, and like we definitely been we thought about it. We're again having conversations with a couple of groups right now, and we would offer that again for the right conversations. We definitely are.
But the app itself is free. The website to join is free at the moment, and that will not change. That will not change. Correct?
For now. And I would say we're at least we're quite a bit away from sharing, put it like that.
And also, don't you think that there is a need for this because the WWE network is going to the way of the dustbin? I don't really know of it. I mean, there are a couple of independent wrestling sort of indie-based kind of streaming sites. There's a few of them out there, but I don't think what you guys have, you guys could really stumble upon something that could be for a different outlet that could solve some of those problems. I think that would be very interesting and to see how it would do, because I think that independent wrestling has it. There was a guy that did this in British independent wrestling, but he didn't really have the right support. Little known fact for the chat here, I wanted to buy a British independent wrestling streaming outlet. I actually wanted to buy it because I believed in the library. I believed in the eventual what Sportzwire could do, and it was something that I really wanted. I wanted the library. I wanted to be able to put it together, but for whatever reasons, the guy didn't want to sell to me, and who knows where he is now. But the point is, I think with what you have here tonight, Professor Baird, you are a professor after all, is that by having something like this to connect to people, that would be the first of its kind. That would be the first of its kind. We could have the backyard wrestling version of the WWE network on the Wrestling Society Network. How does that sound to you?
Well, I'll say this: I don't want to be connected with WWE.
I don't want to be connected with WWE, but this would be the version of the backyard wrestling.
What I mean by that is we are our own brand. We are trying to do something different, and we want to get.
Oh no! Listen, I
understood, and I understand what you were saying. It's not that, but like I said, it's just I want people to feel this is different. This is, man, we can get this. We can look for this. That's why I always say our app is different than any other wrestling app you can find out now, because we give you a lot more than just wrestling, just regular wrestling. We give you cartoons, we give you movies, we give you video games. We're going to give you different outlet, different things.
Cartoons is fascinating. That's the cartoons is fascinating out there. I'm assuming, are these the old like WWF Saturday morning cartoons that were out there and such?
Yeah, we got a few of them. We got some Woody Woodpecker. We got some of the current cartoons that have wrestling in it. So again, it's just a matter of finding, making sure it's okay, and if we're about it.
That's pretty cool that you have the old the WWF cartoons, and I don't know why it won't let me show this, but it's pretty cool that you have that. And we're here with Professor Bear. You can go to, for more information here, you can go to the WrestlingSociety.com website. They're on YouTube and Facebook. I will connect everybody off the air. We're here for about 20 or so more minutes here with Professor Bear. He has been very kind with his time. If you're on Sportswire Radio, let me give you a couple of announcements here first. The first announcement is I'm back here tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, to induct the IMF into the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame and get you ready for Ring of Champions. I'll be here Friday night right after SmackDown with the backyard wrestling version. That's right, Professor Bear, the Hulk Hogan, the backyard wrestling version, Hulk Hogan, Ledger Shade. He was the one and only Tennessee backyard wrestling champion for 500 plus days. He was Mr. Anniversary. He returns to sports. Yes, he is on our Mount Rushmore in backyard wrestling history. He is our Hulk Hogan. He's back here live. So we have some really big shows, and I recommend that everybody tune into them. I know some of the usuals will be there for that. You also saw the Sportswire Radio shirt there. We have a discount for that. Go check it out. But we're here for a little while longer with Professor Bear. But okay, so what are your favorite memories as a wrestling fan then for a few minutes? What are some of your favorite memories as a wrestling fan? You have a couple?
This one, I can remember a little bit, but we were at a local show and we were going in, me, my father, and my two brothers and sisters. And one of the heel wrestlers grabbed my oldest brother and asked him if he would do him a favor. And my brother's like, okay. So he gave him a chain and told them to hold it for him until he needs it. My brother's like, okay. So we're sitting there ringside and they're wrestling. The ref gets knocked down. He jumps out the ring, comes to my brother, give me the chain. My brother gives him the chain. He gets back in the ring and beats the bloody hell out of the person.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. There are people that want to beat me up in backyard wrestling the same way. But
so that one is a good one. The funny fact that both times the Giant got kicked out the NWO, it was here in Knoxville.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
And most people don't, because it was two different times and I was at both shows. So.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, you were there. So you were there his last match in WCW, I imagine?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's interesting. That's very fascinating. Okay. That's
I got a chance to meet Jim Cornette.
He had a birthday yesterday, I saw.
And made him spit out his drink. So that was pretty funny.
You should get his podcast on the Wrestling Society Network.
I've been trying.
And what did he say? What did he say? How much money, right?
I can't get in touch with him. I've been trying to get in touch with him, but I hadn't been able so far.
All right. Well, all right. Those are some fun memories. Let me get to some of the chat here. The chat wants to say hello, and I got to do my job because they don't want to hear me. Yes, happy birthday to Xavier Thorne next weekend. We wish you happy birthday. Stephen Storm is in the house. Yes, we say hello to that. Yes, we make subscribe to all our companies out there. Mama Comatose is here. Mama Comatose is one of our biggest supporters, and she loves wrestling. I mean, Mama Comatose should be like the owner of a wrestling fed. And yes, okay, thank you, Xavier Thorne, for the nice words. I appreciate you. Yes, hello to D'Angelo. Our friends at LBYW, Haunted Hellfest 4 will be on October 30th, the Devil's Night. That's an interesting one there. Yes, Jey Uso winning the Intercontinental Championship was a big surprise, very big surprise. I did not see that one coming. That was a good one. You like that? Did you like that or not? You like that?
I didn't see it coming.
Okay, fair enough.
And I'm glad they did, but it's not going to be a long reign.
Yeah, I don't probably, but let me ask you this before we get to a few final things. Now, you guys have a merchandise shop, I see. What can we expect in the Wrestling Society merchandise page?
You're going to see our 2K promotion. We're going to have.
We have Stephen Storm and Xavier Thorne. They're promo guys. They're 2K guys. They know all about this. I know nothing about it.
So they're going to be able to put on. Do a lot of our 2K wrestlers. They're going to have their own shirts. We're going to have, of course, ours. Then just start get our name out there and just be, just hopefully they'll love the merchandise. We're going to have hats. We're working on a couple other things. Can't really talk about yet,
Yeah,
but
don't talk about it. My advice is if you can't talk about it, don't talk about it pretty much. That's be my advice there. So okay, we'll definitely see some of that here coming up. And again, I think it's a wonderful website. I think that there's a lot to offer here. I think that there is something lacking. And again, I'll say it in the backyard wrestling community, underground is as well a little bit. I think there's definitely something that would be really a huge boon for you guys, a boon for us here in the backyard wrestling community, having a chance to stream shows or links to pages through this website. I think that'd be a really genius idea. And I think it's about time that we have something that's a free app for backyard wrestlers and backyard wrestling companies and outside exposure. It's a positive for the community. And you've talked about positivity. I couldn't agree with you more, Professor Bear. That's what it's all about. Positivity. All wrestling matters. You guys all at the Wrestling Society Network seem to be about all wrestling matters. And that's what we're about here on Sportswire Radio. And I know also I've done some overseas wrestling. Have you guys had any connections with their overseas and such? British, anything British overseas, anything?
yeah, we have a German
Oh, wow.
federation.
Wow. Okay.
I'm working towards getting a couple of more British and Irish companies.
Big Irish, big. I've done some of that with them. Sure.
We have Canadian feds. I think
Okay.
right now we have two, working on the third.
Okay.
So we're just working. If you're independent, we are trying to give you a chance to jump on the train before it gets hot.
Leaves the station. Yep. Get on the train now before it leaves the station. It's going to be a fee, and you're going to be basically out of luck. And I tell you what, before we move on to end the show, I think there's a better plan with this than what I referenced in the Northeast Streaming Sports Network that I was a part of for, I want to say, 4 or 5 months. Is that wrestling, the word travels. Wrestling is a network. You guys have a network in your name. And I think that when you do wrestling is about networking. It's about connections. It doesn't matter if I'm black, if I'm white, if I'm in Ireland, if I'm in Tennessee. Everybody's like, oh, you're a wrestling fan? It connects people together. And I think that that's why this will work more than, let's say, the Northeast Streaming Sports Network, because I think that when you do sports, everybody does major sports, right? No disrespect to anybody. I started out doing that, but everybody talks about the NBA. They talk about college football. There's no an emotional invokeness or reasons why that I need to go out there and tune in because there's a million of them, right? But when you talk about wrestling, you talk about overseas, you talk about the independents, you talk about the backyard, you talk about the underground. There is certainly a demand and there's a way to connect people together, especially through a streaming app, that would really make a difference, I think, for people's lives. And it's a win-win. I think that this will work. You seem like you have a good blueprint. You have the right people behind you. I think that's very key in any successful business. And I'm very optimistic that we'll have some people that'll benefit from this here. I'll certainly give them your information. I have a bunch of people. My buddy Justin Parsley messaged, who's watching this, and he can't comment because he's out and about, but said he loves a streaming app. He would love to be able to connect with that. And I think that those are things that we're going to get people to go out and check out. So before I move on to here and say anything else in final words, is there anything else you want to promote about this particular app and project for our audience that may or may not know?
The biggest thing I would promote is it's free, and it's a great way of finding wrestling that you may not find any other way. We did the legwork for you. You don't have to go look up 16 different sites to get to 4 matches. Then when you finally get there, find out you got to pay a bunch of money. We're free. We're trying again, like you said, we're just trying to connect. There's so many different podcasters that I became friends with that just enjoy giving their 2 cents and help
Which is
promote.
really cool too, because there are podcasters that sometimes need that confidence to say, you know what, there's somebody out there that's watching me. You know what, there's somebody that supports what I do, because I can tell you with the internet radio, I have about 10 or 11 podcasts on there, and there have been a few of the ones that I have on my internet radio station that they've had some success. They've gotten to some places. They've gotten some big views. One show in particular interviewed Byron Saxton. Another one has had like thousands of views on their YouTube channel. Another one's got a sponsorship. I mean, so like, just by providing support for people, that can really make a difference. So I think, like, from the podcast standpoint, I understand completely what you're going through and like what you're bringing to help people, because that really does make a difference and such. That really goes out, and that can give a podcaster confidence. Say, you know what? I was thinking about giving up. I was thinking about quitting, but because I have the Wrestling Society, because I have Professor Bear and Brady Owens, maybe I can believe in it. Just like you see the internet radio station we have here on Sportswire Radio. If you want to watch some of the stuff we have, YouTube, there's the page here to connect to the internet radio. So you have a lot of different things that you're able to connect through with us here on Sportswire Radio. So I think that's a really important tool as well, that you do the podcast and you give some of these podcasters that kind of confidence that they can still continue and they have somebody supporting them. I think that's a really important tool there. That I really encourage people to check that out. And one more time before we get to a few other things, if you want to find out, now I'll connect everybody, but if you want to find out more information, this is the Wrestling Society. It is a free app. It is a free website. We're going to connect many of our backyard wrestling companies that come onto this platform here. You got the podcast room. You got that here. You've a list of different stuff. You want to go out and watch some of this stuff that they have. I mean, what a excellent catalog that Brady and Professor Bear have brought to the table. You can do that through some streaming. You want to watch them right here. You can do that. How about this, Legend? You can watch what these guys and gals have put together through eventually, if it works. But the point is, you can watch some of this stuff here, and there you go. You can watch phone calls. You can watch all that stuff. That's really cool. That's really, like, I love that stuff. I mean, people would say, well, maybe they should go to the Wrestling Society then instead of coming on the Sportswire. You got the app here. You want to check the app, you can do that. You have some different people that are on. You have a lot of different sources of information. If you want to connect to them, you got links here: Roku, Apple, Venmo. You got Amazon Fire. You got Snapchat, X. You got Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Just a lot of different great places and connect. And it's about all wrestling matters. And we're about that here. I think this is a really important show. And I will connect everybody when we are off the air here. So great stuff. I appreciate you, Professor Bear. I want to pass the baton to you now, give you some final thoughts. I know you're a busy man, so I won't keep you much longer, but I think this is really something that our community will really benefit from, in using a free streaming app and maybe connecting with some of these promoters to you and Mr. Owens. I'll definitely handle that. But until then, I give you the floor, give you some closing thoughts, and anything else you want to plug, share, or say.
I just want to start off by thanking you, the wrestling fans. Um, Again, there would not be me if it wasn't you to give the confidence to do what I am doing now. So again, I thank you and I appreciate you. Man, go and support local wrestling.
Yes,
Support it.
absolutely.
Support. I can't say it enough. Make sure when you see your local wrestlers, thank them. Let them know that you appreciate them, because they were able to give you to forget about your life for a minute to enjoy something. Hey, and all wrestling is wrestling. Let's cut the hate. Let's just enjoy and be one great big community, man. And again, I thank you for having me, and thank you for the time to promote. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. And Mr. LaFlame, if you want to find the app, I will actually do the work for you right now. I will actually put it up right here, because if you'd like, here is the website. There we go. Oh, I'm blind. Now I'm not blind. But if you want to click on the app, yep. So here's the app, right there. You see it, Mr. LaFlame? If you click on the app, that app will actually go right here. So if you want to click on the app, It's actually on the page. So the way to click on the Wrestling Society app. And are you guys also downloadable on the Apple Store and such as well?
We're actually in the midst of working on our mobile app.
Okay. I think that's what Mr. LaFlame was referring to. But if you want to click on the app itself, you can do that. If you want to stream it live, you can connect on their website. And I understand the whole thing about doing a map and the app. It's a different thing. I know it's not easy because I have an internet radio station. People ask me all the time, like, why don't you have an app? And I'm like, well, I don't have time for it. Do you see me not on Sportswire? But obviously, this is some great stuff. You got documentaries. The app also, by the way, is on Roku. So if you have Roku, Amazon Fire, you have any of those other platforms, Fire Stick, Amazon, anything else, you can check the app there as well. They're also on Facebook and YouTube. Yep.
And it'll be listed under WSN on the apps.
And I'll connect some of these wrestlers with you anyway, because some of them have promotions, and that would be in their benefit. Yeah, the mobile is not out yet, but the app is still on Roku. The app is still on Amazon Fire, Fire Stick. All that great stuff is there. But if you want to click on the website's right here. All that stuff, again, we'll show it one more time for the audience. All the stuff is on there. You can check it out and everything else in between. So I'll make sure I connect some of these promoters with you off the air. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. I didn't know what to expect. I had to be honest. I usually do backyard wrestling, and I'm like, I don't know how this will go over, but you actually had a lot more people than I anticipated in the chat. You had a nice little crowd. I think people are excited about this. It's a really cool thing. Maybe it was good because it kind of breaks up some of the usual shows we've had on Sportswire. So I think the place will definitely have a lot more to talk about tomorrow and Friday. And yes, ALW September Showdown this Saturday. It takes place coming up. Judas has an open challenge. We have a 4-way ladder match for the ALW International Championship. And you know what I'm going to do before we're going to go? We're about All Wrestling Matters. I'm going to put that link up here. I'm going to actually put up the link for our friends in ALW. So if people want to find out more information, they can certainly do that. I'm going to do that right now, right here, because I have the ability to do that before we sign off. And I'll connect our friends at ALW to you. So if you want to check them out, that's their link. That's their page. So it's going to be at David Street, Marion, Ohio. Bell time, 5 o'clock Eastern time. Bring your own chair. So we handled that. Yes, thank you. Support ALW. And you haven't yet hit the sub button for me. I am literally, I have to be honest, Professor Bear, I am like almost like I can't sleep with knowing the fact I'm still not at 1,000. I'm at 922 subscribers. It's like already, I wanted to get to 1,000 by my birthday, but I'm going to be a little short. My birthday's in 12 days, but that's okay. I'll get to 1,000 by the end of the year. But it's not about me. It's about the community. They'll support you. I'll make sure of it. And thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. Anytime you're welcome. You're welcome here anytime on Sportswire. Anything we can do for you, anything that you think is news of note, we're here anytime to talk about it. And keep up the good work. Congratulations. Love the merchandise. And I know we'll get it on that shop in a few months. And we'll talk with you soon, my friend.
I appreciate you. And just before we go off, just to let you know, by Friday, I will have you up in the podcast room.
Okay, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I have a lot of shows though. If you want to put my channel up there, I would appreciate that. I actually have people. You're gonna chuckle. I have people telling me in my home community that they're praying for me to get to 1,000 subscribers. Like, you should pray for like world peace. Pray for like a peaceful presidential election. No, seriously, I have people telling me. I have people DM me. I'm rooting for you. I was in one group chat yesterday. People like, I really want you to get to 1,000. I'm like, it's okay. You don't have to worry about me. I'm good. If I get there, I don't get there. It's in God's hands. But no, I appreciated it. It's all good in a bag of chips, as downtown Julie Brown used to say. But well, she's a hottie still. But that's another show for a different time. Thank you so much. Congratulations for all what you do for our community. You're welcome here anytime, and we'll definitely see you soon. And ladies and gentlemen, that was the co-CEO of the Wrestling Society Network. That is Professor Bear, and this is just a really cool thing. And one more time, because I see a whole bunch of people still coming into the chat. One more time, this is the website, All you have to do to connect, and I will connect you. If you're a promoter, you're a wrestler, I will connect you personally with Professor Bear to help you out. We'll be able to connect our companies, get them on here. We'll definitely work on that. We'll maybe have a big show about it. Once we get a couple of them on here, we'll do a major announcement here on Sportswire. So this is the page. We'll take care of all the rest in between. We're always making moves for our community here on Sportswire Radio. So make sure you check this out and support. So that's the site. It's the WrestlingSociety.com. It's the WrestlingSociety.com. But I'll connect everybody afterwards. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters. And if you're on Sportswire Radio, we'll be here tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, with the boys in Iowa to put them in the Hall of Fame. Friday, the backyard wrestling version of Hulk Hogan, Ledger Shade, right after SmackDown. And until then, thank you, Professor Bear, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters.